Hello, everyone. So I was just sitting out here talking to the camera in front of you all, and nobody seen my face. Let's get to it. So our guest is already in the back of the room, and I'm ready for us to win on today. So Mr. Ernesto Martinez is up in the room, up in the room. In today's conversation, we're gonna lean in a little bit, right? We know we're on our fourth day of the cost of freedom. The cost of freedom, we know where it comes from. It's a piece of the mantra. When you look at, some of us believe, right? We're entitled to something. We're entitled to something. You were born to be free, yes. But it's going to take you taking some steps, making some sacrifices, being around the right people, people after your own kind. When we talk about this, we're not talking about people that look like you or from the same nationality of you. We're talking about people that are the grade, the caliber, that are going somewhere as you were created to go somewhere, right? So you weren't created to be stagnant. You are a human race. I am part of a human race that was created to be on the move, to be on the move. As light moves, we are called to move too. So I am excited about the fourth day, and we have Ernesto Martinez joining us. He is going to introduce himself, but y'all know when we are in the lean in, we win. So me and him will be having some conscious conversation where iron will sharpen iron. Are you getting me? If you're having conversation with people where you're not walking away better, you're not walking away refilled, you're not walking away energized, I need you to self check because something ain't right about them people. Hold up. Something ain't right about that conversation because the people could be right, but the conversation you all are having is not the one you need to be in. So, Ernesto, I love to welcome you. I thank you for accepting this. I know it was a little different for someone to walk up on you because that's who I am. I just walk up on people and be like, "Can you join me? Can you join me?" And you was like, "Yes." So talk to me this morning. Introduce yourself to us.
Okay, good morning. Good morning, everyone. And first and foremost, thanking Dr. Platt for all she's doing and building community relations. As we say, building bridges and not walls. So I appreciate your efforts, your endeavors, and all that you do. Um, so a little bit about me. Born and raised in New Orleans, Louisiana, educated in the Orleans Parish School District. Um, um, single parent home, single parent home. Mom raised seven boys and one sister. Mom passed away when I was 13, going on 14. My youngest brother at the time was 6 years old. My oldest brother was 21. Um, but I tell you what, our mother was a phenomenal woman, and kind of prepared us for what life would bring. Moving forward, I am a graduate of Dillard University, New Orleans, Louisiana, the oldest HBCU in the state of Louisiana. And much props to Xavier University, Southern University, Baton Rouge, Grambling State University, Southern University in New Orleans. So we have all those HBU campuses in the state. We have three campuses in the city itself. That's something folks don't know about New Orleans. Is the educational landscape as well. And we all were so blessed to have grown up and have our roots there. Moving forward, I'm a veteran of both the Air Force Reserve and the United States Army Regular Army. My introduction to Kansas was back in 89, 90. First duty station, active station was Fort Riley, Kansas. And I can't say enough about that um, the base. My orders to go there, it changed my life, and I'm so appreciative of the Big Red One, Fort Riley, Kansas. Um, After my career in both the Air Force and the Army, utilized a program called Troops to Teachers and wound up going to University of Missouri, Kansas City. Had no idea what that school was. Had never heard of it. But that's all about purpose and calling. Okay, And I do believe, I don't believe in luck. I do believe in divine intervention, in direction, in correction.
Mhm.
Wind up at UMKC. My first teaching job was in the old Kansas City, Missouri public school system. Um, had a great career in education. It's not over. I haven't quite retired from uh, the field of education, but served a certified teacher. I am K through 8 math, 6 through 12 social sciences, K
Mhm.
through 12 special education, more or less mild to moderate uh, 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 disabilities, and I've also been an administrator at every level, principal at elementary school, a principal at the middle school level, and definitely the high school. Then got into the charter school movement before charter schools were popular at the time. Edison Schools, who I worked with and grew tremendously as an educator. And it was Edison Schools in KIP. We were the largest charter management organizations in the country at the time, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I got to travel the country. I called them educational deployments. I got to put together teams, and we went to Fresno, California, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Chester, Pennsylvania, served a little in Cleveland, Ohio. Actually went back home to New Orleans to George Washington Carver High School as a principal there, um, and then worked with Johns Hopkins University with a
Mhm.
program called Diplomas now. I work for the talent development piece of it. So that program, Diplomas Now, you had three national organizations under one umbrella called Diplomas Now. So you had talent development. We were more the curriculum and instructional specialist. We had city year, the near peer tutoring. Then we had communities and schools. So we all three came together under one umbrella to be a Diplomas Now school, and we took three of the poorest performing schools in Columbus City School District, and we turned them around. Um, um, so right now, I serve as the Education Service Officer for the Kansas Army National Guard, stationed right here in Topeka, Kansas, Joint Forces Headquarters. And it's been a blessing working with so many folks and so many young soldiers who are joining the Kansas Army National Guard to make their educational dreams come true with 100% tuition and much more benefits to add to that. That being said,
Uh,
I'm gonna drop the mic, or if you will, I'm gonna hand the mic back over to Dr. Platt, as if we on stage like the male and female version of Salt and Pepper. So I don't know which one you're gonna be, Dr. Platt. So I'm gonna hand the mic back over to you because your mic sound good. Check one, it sound good. Check two.
Come on now. I was kind of laughing because I was sitting over here. There were so many things that was coming up that I wanted to dig into, but I may just be the DJ. We may have to dance another song.
Spinderella, you
So
gonna be Spinderella?
you get what I'm saying? Because without Cinderella, without the bridge, right? The voices
Hmm.
of Salt and Pepper wouldn't even have been the way that we believed and what we seen and we received, because you gotta have the bridge. And I heard you talk a lot about being the bridge. I love that as you were even telling your story about what you achieved, what you went through, you kept saying we, right? You
Hmm.
kept saying those pieces of we, a team, right?
Hmm.
Collaborations. I kept hearing that come up. And when we talk about what are you willing to sacrifice to succeed, some of us need to sacrifice our egos, right? Our ego, right? We're so centered in what we did and how we know what to do. I just kept hearing you come back into the we, right? The collaboration. For the as you all were stepping towards the mission of, you had a clear mission of what you wanted to achieve, and you were willing to get the right people, right? The people after your own kind, the people that will understood the assignment in the place. And I want you to talk a little bit about that, right? Because sometimes we're wanting to succeed with all the baggage from our past. We're wanting to go step towards our new, towards our destiny, right? Towards giving youth opportunities or cities opportunities or creating new businesses. But we're trying to do it with the perspective of what we did when we were in limits and limitations. And you can't solve the problem thinking like the problem. You have to think outside of the problem. So talk to me a little bit about that.
It's funny. I drill weekend just recently had a young soldier at her desk working on a paper for school, and her first year in the Kansas Army National Guard. And I asked her, "What are you working on? What's the paper about?" And she says, "Leadership." And we hear all this thing about leadership, leadership, leadership. So I asked her, "What is leadership to you? Or give me some leadership characteristics." And she gave me some good ones. She gave me some good ones. I said, "Young lady, I want you to remember four things about leadership as it pertains to you. It's not about leading someone else until you can lead yourself. The first thing is called awareness. Know who you are. Truly know who you are. Know your strengths, and I don't call them weaknesses. Your areas of growth. Your areas of growth. But we knowing ourselves, not thinking you your older brother, your older sister, or someone you want to be like, because you before you could be the second best, you better become the first best you. Awareness. The second one I said learning agility. Now, when you're honest with yourself, learning agility. Are you willing to put in that work?
Hmm.
Are you willing to put in that work? You see, Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and all the greats Magic, they knew who they were and what they weren't, but they knew what they needed to improve upon to get their game right, to step their game up. Are you willing to put in that work? Learning agility, learning agility. The second one I told her, the third one, awareness, learning agility. The third one, I said communication. Some folks are very brilliant. They don't know how to communicate it. They don't know how to teach it. They don't know how to coach it. So they rub folks the wrong way. Then that communication piece come in, and that communication piece it's gonna elevate you to a point where your network gonna become pretty easy because you'll be able to discern. You're gonna have the knowledge. And now you need that discernment and some wisdom behind you when you're young. Get under a good mentor, someone who's gonna guide you right. And then that last piece was influence. Was influence. And outside, I let folks, that sphere of influence. And then I said, as a leader, you're gonna understand something. It's gonna happen. Your network, folks are gonna want to fall in line because I always say it's your tribe that attracts you. It's your vibe that attracts your tribe.
Come on, mic drop on that. Mic drop on that one. It's your
Seriously.
vibe. It's your authenticity. Are y'all
Yeah.
hearing that? Your vibe is your authenticity. It's not a carbon copy of nobody else. It's your vibe that attracts your tribe.
Tribe.
Get authentic, y'all. Get real. Let's get real to it. Do you want people to see you as angry? Because y'all be saying keep it 100, keep it 100. Are you really being 100? Are you really reflecting someone else's brokenness and believing in that it's your wholeness?
Right.
Come on, coach. Come on, talk to me.
Right. So I shared, and she just sat there. She said, "Mr. Martinez, you should be a motivational speaker." I said, "That I'm not. I know some good ones." I said, "But you young folks are my ministry. Now I could minister to you. I could guide you. I could be a most valuable resource because I know where my blessings come from, the only source I know. So I could be a valuable resource to you. So young people, they're my ministry, so just sharing those things. I hope I kind of answered what you were asking of me, and I just wanted to bring up that little morning session, impromptu morning session I had with this soldier who's at KU, and just sharing with them awareness.
Well,
Be of that camp. Kind of you're in it. Just don't become of it. If it's not you, whatever's going on, you're there. You could be in it, but you don't have to be of it.
so be in the world, but not
Yes.
of the world. I
Mm-hmm.
love those pieces because as you were talking, just in that sector, it was two pieces that I got. I was thinking about the Safe in Its Arms revival we just came out of, and within that, it was like, um, I'm in it to win it, right? I'm
Right.
not believing that I'm going to go into something that's going to break me because I am a healer. I know that I'm a bridge. I know that, right? I'm a visionary. I know that about me. So if I get into something that's not moving, not creating, not being transformed, not being enlightening, it drains me. And I know that
Mm-hmm.
about me. And so some of us are trying to go into spaces to fix something, but you can't fix what ain't willing to fix itself, right? That's
Come
not
on.
trying to calibrate itself to do something else. So you can go into when you're working with, and you called out young people a couple times, but I want some of you that are tapping onto this. This is not just a message for the young. This is a message for all, right? When he's giving that conversation and he's leaning in that lean in space, he said that young person was doing that work, right, for schooling. And there's some of you who are older, right? Older don't mean dead. Older means that you are in a space where you're outside of the space that you were. So you're at a different level. You're on a different step of life. But it does not mean the person that stops learning is the person that begins to die. Anything you stop embracing, you begin to die to. And so as an older person, there's still some youth within you. There's still some fresh
Yes.
areas within you that when you're in alignment with the right persons, the right mentor, the right coach, right? The right supporter, those supporters, right? Who are willing to advocate for you in ahead of time. And I call them sponsors, those sponsors
Mm-hmm.
who are willing to speak and give you influence in spaces you may not have been in. So there's always a need for a coach if you're in a season of level up. There's always a need for a coach. There's always a need for a mentor. There's always a need for sponsorship because if you're on the move, there's always another room or another season of understanding that you need to get to that you're not going to get to if you don't connect with the right people.
True.
True. He said true.
True.
So now we're at that point where we're going a little bit more, right? Because you're here in Topeka. You said this is your second rally back into Kansas. And let's just talk about things because you've been around the world. Nah, yeah, yeah. I can't find my
Oh,
baby.
now she's not gonna sing no Lisa Stansfield this morning.
You've
Mm,
been all around the world, right? Been all around the world. And right,
mm-hmm.
what are some areas when you think about moving out? Because you had levels, and you can't speak on all the levels in one, but you moved from being in the home or going off to college, and there were some areas of your identity, of your belief system that you had to give up. You had to sacrifice, right?
Yes.
You had to let go of. And let's talk about a little bit about that let go so you can grow season, that break that seed of you breaking its shell, right? What are some things you had to break out of so you could blossom? What were some things you've seen yourself coming to?
I remember Dr. Tony Evans had a sermon, and he was talking about the journey of Joseph, and he said, "Notice two things you're going to notice, and all his transitions, whether it was Joseph's fault, whether it was someone else's fault, or was it something God needed him to go through to develop." And Dr. Tony Evans said, three things you're going to go through on the pathway to success, or where he wants you to be. That, being the author and finisher of your faith, we're like the actor in the movie. We don't know. Um, we don't know. You go in, you do your part, you go home. We don't know how the movie gonna end until the screening, right?
Mhm.
so so he said, Deliverance, development, destiny. Being delivered from something. Then you're gonna go through that development stage. Why me? Why I gotta go through this? Then you gonna hit it. You get to that destiny, whether it's a, I don't know what, I know what, let's say a graduation at every level. You're always starting over, and keeping some things you used to do, like of course truth and honesty and awareness and all that. But like running track, you got to come out of some things. You know, you got to take shed some gear when you're about to run that race, right? And so Dr. Tony Evans said, deliverance, being honest, being delivered from some, maybe some habits you had, being delivered from that, and then you're gonna go through that development stage, and then when you're in alignment with that purpose and calling, oh, destiny is so sweet. Then you'll look back and say, I got it. I got it.
So question in there, right? When you said those pieces, deliverance, development, destiny, was there an importance part within those stages where purpose had to be
Come on.
outlined? What part on that journey where because some of us believe that, you know, we tell young people, you gotta know your purpose. You get your
Hmm.
purpose, right? You hear people clergymen stand at the front in the pulpit, purpose, God purpose you to be here, you know, and then you hear
Hmm.
motivational speakers, purpose, get your purpose. And
Hmm.
so I want you to just speak to that part about purpose, right? Because
Purpose.
I know myself where I knew I was called to people. I knew I was called to enlighten people, right? I
Hmm.
knew I was always that person that empowered people. Even as a young girl, I knew I had a very protective, right? From being really young, I had a very protective um spirit about me. I don't know what it is, but I was like safety and security. That's always been me. I don't even know. And it may have been the order I was born in,
Hmm.
where I always had that. Pretty much, I'm the oldest sister, right? And
Right.
so I always had that piece where I wanted to nurture and protect. But I noticed that was always warfare that took place with that area, right? So the
Hmm.
purpose and passion somehow or another have this connection in my life. I recognize that,
Hmm.
whether it's for the people of the community, where I always had this piece where I loved multicultural. Like I was always focused on learning other cultures. I
Great.
always wanted to understand, experience the food, the clothing, like the
Yes.
language. I wish I could speak every language in the world because I want to be able to love on all the people, right?
Right.
So when you but I did not know, right? When people talk about purpose, I did not, and people are like, you have your thing you're called to do, and they wanted to beat it into you. I did not know the positioning, right?
Hmm.
Assignment. And I think the world believes it comes in a position, the purpose comes in a position. But what
Hmm.
I've seen is there's been a fluid consistency of whether I was working in a Kansas Department of Corrections, South Carolina correction area, wilderness camps, um, PRTFs. Um, I was working as a mental health part tech, you know, going into people's homes. It was always the ones that were cast out,
Hmm.
that people didn't want to connect to, that I was called to. Whether it's in ministry, that's who I connect. And I can see the brokenness. But talk a little bit about that, because I think there was this, young people may have this conceived piece that the purpose is in a position, but
Wow.
the position is just part of the mission.
Yes. Yes.
Talk a little bit about.
Um, so I like one of Mark Twain quotes in high school, just reading a lot of stuff in world literature, right? And Mark Twain had a quote when he says, the two most important dates of your life, the day you are born and the day you figure out why.
Mm, mm.
So our mother with limited financial resources, but Uh, uh, as Dick Gregory said in his book, "Poor but not broke." We were never broke. We just had limited resources. And my mom would always find a way. Y'all not just gonna sit around this house. You going to New Orleans Recreation Department called NORD. So every community had NORD always had something going on for us. Football, baseball, track and field, an extension. Every kid back then had to learn to play an instrument. My mom was so adamant about what an idle mind is a devil's workshop, and she meant that you were not gonna sit around that house. Go out and get to the football field, get to the basket, get to these camps. Nord had everything back then, New Orleans Recreation Department. And my mom used to always say, you just don't have one gift and talent, you have several. You have several. But you never know what they are unless you get involved and give it your best. And she always said, now, once I enroll you, once you join something, I have limited funding. We don't quit in this house. So if you started it, even if you didn't like it, you was going to finish.
Come on, come on. You just said something because I want to shoot back to something you said. And in my head, hey DJ, would you play that song that keep me dancing? So let's talk about that piece because there was a piece of your life where you experienced DJing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
going in and setting this mother off, right?
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
talk a little bit because it tell the story because I was listening to you talk about that story of going from watching someone else and learning why someone else was working their gift. And as you were watching them work their gift, you were being trained to be able to work the gift that was in you.
Yes. Yes. My older brother, man, he master carpenter, master mechanic. Um, his education came high school, career and technical skills. Had a lot of uncles who owned their own businesses. They were carpenters, they were masons, they were electricians. So
Mhm.
we never. The blessing was we never had to go fill out applications anywhere growing up. It was always my mom's go talk to your uncle about a job. So we were working, buying our own school clothes in sixth grade. Also, my brother was one of the a radio personality in if you will, a club and DJ and all that. And we'll go over to his place growing up, and when he was living in the house with us, he would have all this stuff locked in the room. I found a way to pick the lock and get in there, and I just started imitating him, what he used to do. But I used to also imitate Don Cornelius on as I started playing the records, thinking I was Don Cornelius, as I say, hey, and uh, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the mighty OJs and things like that, and just mimicking Don Cornelius. And not wondering, not noticing one day my brother was watching, and he said, "I like that," and I jumped, and he said, "No, no, no, keep doing it, but do it like this. Now do this." And he then he said, "Look, don't pick that lock, don't do that." He gave me a key, and he allowed me to practice, and then he started letting me come to the radio station and different places he played. And by seventh grade, I think I DJ'd my first school dance,
Come
and
on.
it was off and running. And so everywhere I got stationed in the military, um, but I did it for the love of the game, not for the fame. And that was the difference.
So another piece to that, I want to say I did it for the love of the game and not the fame. I wasn't trying to be seen. I was just living out my dream. Come
Yep.
on, you
Yep.
have to go and finish it off. So as you say that, talk about the importance of us being able to mentor those that are to come behind us to give them something that they can do with their time, energy, and skill instead of expecting them just to find something when we are part of something. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. My three sons. as we came up, and they saw dad both in the military. They saw dad as the civilian. My sons actually had the experience of coming attending a school where I was a teacher. The youngest attending a school where I was principal and superintendent and all that other stuff. And no one even knew they were my kids. They didn't know. A lot of folks didn't know. And my thing was trying to raise them like our mother raised us, getting them involved in a lot, as much as I can, because we know growing up it's a journey, it's an exploration, and as a good coach, players gonna make mistakes, but you don't always reprimand the player. You're there to coach them, to coach them.
Mm.
Anyone that had a good music teacher or a good coach, track, football, basketball, you had the skill, but but again, when I coach you, do you have the will, that learning agility? Are you willing to learn?
Come
Are
on.
you coachable?
Mm-hmm.
So just what my mom instilled in us, and just being patient and putting the right pieces in place for them to be successful, as she did with us, with limited resources. And so I was blessed to have a little more resources to invest in my kids, and most importantly, the time was the greatest resource, we know, right? As grandparents, parents, time. I think it was Jesse Jackson once said, "Kids don't want presents; they want your presence."
Come, hold up. Did you wake up this morning ready to come on here and just throw it all in? Hold on, because I love that. Because as you all listen to this conversation, this is not let me give a little bit, right? I don't know if a thousand gonna show up to listen and watch, or one or two gonna show up to listen and watch. But let me go all in. Some of you are going in to conversations and going in to performances and going in to occupy space with others, and you're given limited. You're giving it limited, but you want a plethora. You want a breakthrough. You want change to happen. And I'm going to tell you, whenever you show up fully. As you see this morning, he's actually outside of another assignment that he needs to do on this morning. He hit the office at 6 o'clock this morning. But even with him hitting the office at 6 o'clock, he showed up on here ready to go all in. Every question that I'm asking him, he's not just giving outside notions of what is, he's given the systems of what he's been working. What he's been working as the stepologist. I don't give you someone else's system. I give you the system of me so that you can connect to the system of you. This is not about me controlling you or giving you a carbon copy. It's about me planting a seed that awakens the best of you, and then you taking hold of your steps. And so when I asked about young people, when I asked about community, when I asked about his purpose, right? I'm asking you to open up your eyes and look through the right lenses so you can see that you've been taking steps through too. He's been taking steps. I've been taking steps. And so the last dropping of this question that I want to hit you with, because I've already had so much of your time leaning in here. We don't want to, okay, I was about to go on and start rapping with me. But look at this. This show this week was the cost of freedom. That's our theme. And when we think about the cost of freedom, as me and Mr. Martinez were talking, the ending part to that was he wanted to know, what are you willing to sacrifice to succeed? Right? That was his question. He was like, what are the listeners? What are the ones who are watching? What are they willing to sacrifice to succeed? So that they can get to that ending point, that destination that they've been dreaming about, so that they can become the healthy person that they decided they want to do, so that they can have that happy marriage, that joyful marriage, so that they can raise those kids that they desire to raise, so that they can open up and stand in the presence of the people that they believe they were called to stand in front of. What are you willing to sacrifice? And I love
Mhm.
when he said that. because the first part I know for myself, Mr. Ernesto, that I had to sacrifice, the first thing I had to sacrifice was me. I had
Yes.
to sacrifice how I was thinking about things. I had to
Hmm.
sacrifice old rituals that I was doing in routines. For
Come
me
on.
to have a relationship with Christ in the way I have it today, I had to sacrifice religion, doing things
Hmm.
because those of old told me to do them. I had to sacrifice that because religion was killing me. See, religion, when I got pregnant at 15 years old and had a baby at 16, religion mocked me. Religion
Hmm.
looked down on me, ostracized me, wanted to put me out the church, and told me that there was nothing good about me. Religion vandalized my mind and my heart for several years while I was walking through high school. Are you getting me? Rituals told them that I couldn't remain in high school. They were trying to move me out the high school. I was somehow or another, because my womb was full of life, I became uneducatable.
Right.
I don't get that, right? And I didn't get pregnant by myself. There was a grown man that got me pregnant, but
Hmm.
the only one that was responsible was me.
Hmm.
Um, and so I had to die to myself.
Say
And
that.
I'll tell you, when the marriage failed, because I got married, and when the marriage failed, because we wasn't trained to work marriage, so we was getting
Hmm.
work in the marriage. And when the marriage failed because two people didn't know how to become one,
Hmm.
I walked away with bitterness and unforgiveness on self. On
Hmm.
self, because I felt like I failed my kids, my community, my legacy. I felt like I fell because I fell at being in the marriage.
Right.
And the marriage needed to die so that I can show up here, because I would have never been doing this in marriage, because he didn't believe that a woman, he didn't want me in school. He didn't
Hmm.
believe that I needed to work outside the house for long periods of time. And he sure the heck wouldn't have had me on no social media getting up here in the morning time in his house. I needed
Hmm.
to be cleaning house. I need to be taking care of the kids. So what I say to you is, what are you willing to sacrifice? And tell me like your mindset on that, because you came up with that. And so we talk a little bit about it before you exit.
So, man, just I keep it simple. We have a saying. We have a saying when we're briefing. Be three things: be brief, be brilliant, and be gone.
Mm, mm. Isabel, Macho Black. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Be brief, be brilliant, and be gone. Girl, if we ain't about to use that in BTBY this year in August, my message will be brief, be brilliant, and be gone.
Hey, hold on, Dr. Platt. As you look at the Bible through as Jesus walked, wasn't he them three? I'm gonna be brief because I know what I'm gonna tell you is gonna be heavy, so I gotta be brief. But it's gonna be so brilliant, it's gonna blow your mind. Now I gotta be on my journey because I'm on my ministry now.
Good morning. Come on.
but to your point, um, what you said, I just learned. I read everything. I pick up everything. I'm not. I don't watch TV like that. But I can be in Barnes and Nobles, and I got apps to different media. Uh, newspapers or what have you. Um, but I wanted something you said about where you were in that relationship and being young and what we say under the influence of ignorance of ourselves
Ooh.
of ourselves. We're young, we're growing, but we're under the influence of being naive, on top of being ignorant, and if we're not growing, illiteracy as well. That mindset. Um, and want to tie into that of that like Dr. Tony Evans said, being delivered from something, knowing what you need to be delivered from is hard sometimes to break old habits, and like you said, religion practices without a purpose. You just practicing it, but you don't even know why you're doing
Come on.
it. So brings me to the story of when Jesus walking through the country of Samaria and meeting a Samaritan woman and meeting the woman and Jesus listening to her. And what we need to understand about that conversation is when facts are not truth.
Facts are not final. Let's get this.
Yes,
Come on, come
it
on.
was a fact. She said, "We worship like this. This how we live. This how we do things. This how I am. This how I was raised." That's a fact. That was a fact. But what Jesus when she threw in the uh, uh, racial thing, she and we don't even talk to people like you. Now let me get with you. Let me now let me show you. I'm gonna teach you. You know what you did. All you said was fact, but let me tell you what's the truth. And but she was her learning agility. She was willing to learn.
Mm,
And as we go through life, I was raised like this and this, that, and the third. But how many of us, not that we dismiss what our parents taught us, but as we grow, it's spiritually and mentally, cognitively, whatever, physically, we realize that mom and daddy meant well, but that's all they knew.
mm, mm,
It was fact,
mm,
but it wasn't all true. It's what they knew. So
mm.
we want to always move forward and do better. Yeah, but let's make it clear. I always tried to give my sons better, but I never got away from what was best for my son.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I always tried to give my sons better, but I never got away from
From
what
what
was
was
best
best.
for my son. So old systems may not fit for new nations or new
Hmm.
solutions or new
Hmm.
generations. And so we
Hmm.
got to do what's best for them.
Yeah,
Ooh,
and,
ooh.
and not getting away from uh, right and wrong. As I had an auntie used to say, time change, seasons change, people change, months change, all that change. And she would raise up that Bible and say, nephew, see this here? Right and wrong never change.
Mm,
And um, just being, again, awareness true to yourself as a parent and trying to be a better person, a better parent, a better friend, uh, a better colleague. And that's just been my journey, just getting better for me. So and another thing with me was the military did more for me than any college. It did more for me than any college. It definitely uh, I can't explain it because it's individual for everyone. It wasn't good every day, just like any relationship. It was not good every day. It was days I wanted to move on, and I hear my mom say, "If you started, we don't quit." And I would always hear her say that. But the military gave me something no university or college education ever can and never will. It was two parts to it. It was the military was what was knowledge, you learn it, application, not go in the field and show it.
mm,
Produce,
mm.
produce. And it like that, like that, like that. So um I always share that. That experience. And here's the thing, but with my sons, I always taught this. I wish you would. College, you need to go, not if not the college, to a trade school. You need to get a degree of knowledge and it to align with your calling and purpose. Um, to each one, I have twin sons, but they totally different, identical, but totally different. And then it's the younger brother of theirs. Look, don't do what that one's doing. That may not be your calling and purpose, but putting him in positions that they will find out what it is. And what I knew it was my calling and purpose because the things God led me to, it came naturally to me. I didn't say easy, but it came naturally.
Mm, mm. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm loving this. I was thinking that sitting here as you were speaking as well, is I heard a lot of, again, a die to self, like the everything that you were taught, you had to align with the system of self, what was being given to you to best do outside of what was told to you about you.
Hmm.
And you had to be willing to experience daily, right?
Yes.
My one of my the ladies that was on that she was watching today, um Izzy, the intentional healer, she is very, intentionality is very important, and she learned there was healing for her in allowing herself to be present in the
Hmm.
today, right? In the today, and be willing to do the work today, not worried about what was going to happen tomorrow or what had happened before yesterday. And I think that's a good piece too, because in the today, your sons need to know that, or my daughters or my son need to know that it's what's in you I want to help burst through. It's what's in you, not what's in me. It's what's in you I want to help burst through. And so if trade school is what will help what's in you burst through, let's get you through trade school.
Yes.
That aligns with you. If university is what's going to be, even with university, we need to align that programming to get
Hmm.
them through so that they can get to what they need and not what others need. In military, I love that you brought up the armed services, because it has done amazing things for so many that I've connected with, life experiences that they would have, and opportunities that they would have never got if they remained in inner city
Yes.
Atlanta, in Chicago.
Yes.
Some of them told me like deep hardcore stories that I was like, thank you for there being a place that they could go, where they could go and see that everyone is not experiencing life through the limits that they've experienced, and then be able to get that opportunity. So I thank you for this. So I want to thank you for holding this space with me. I want to
Nope.
thank you for just leaning in authentically, and opening up and just taking us on a journey. Your story, you're such a great storyteller, and you're full of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, intentionally full of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. I thank you for doing the research and the studying that you have done over the years, and serving our student body and parents and communities in the way you've chosen to share. Are there any last words or any things that you would like to leave us with before you exit?
Hey, yes. Just one thing. Uh, um, and I bless folks with this with my text messages over the past 10 years, 15 years. And I like how reading Bob Marley's autobiography. I like reading a lot of autobiographies too. Authentic ones that the artist or whomever that person had a hand in writing this book. And I just so Bob Marley, one of my favorites. His autobiography is deep. And one thing Bob Marley said, the God I serve, the God I serve was for me, it will never miss me. And what misses me, it was never for me.
Mm.
I live by, hey, been on so many interviews, jobs I didn't get, uh, endeavors I went on that didn't quite work out. But through all that, I was preparing for something. God was preparing me for something. Maybe not that it at that time, but then later on, it was like, I get it. So again, just strive, do your best, but also be willing to submit your will to God's will. We know we may not understand the we don't understand God, right? How He operates, but just be willing to know He knows what's best.
Amen.
And hey, I know for a fact, if my mom was living, I know what she see it. She see it. She sees it. She sees it. Mom dad died at 42 years old and left behind a 6 year old all the way through 21, and I'm 13 going on 14. I'm in the middle. And truly, truly, I tell you, what God has for you, it'll never miss you. Just align yourself to that purpose, calling in His will, and get out your way, It'll never miss you. And what misses you, it wasn't for you because he got something better and it's going to blow your mind.
Mm.
Gonna blow your mind. So
you said that piece right there, and I wanted to say what misses you, if it was for you, it'll come back full circle.
it'll
Because
come.
sometimes some opportunities may come, but when it comes back, you'll be open to receive it. Because sometimes you're not open to receive what was coming up on you, and
You're not ready.
you
You're
were
not ready for that blessing. That you're not ready.
you were looking for a miracle, and you were looking for a miracle that looked like a dog, but he was actually sending it like a plane, and you were scared to take the plane. I'm sorry. I just went way off. I'm sorry. But y'all, this has been impactful. We could actually go forever, right? Forever, ever. Because when me and him get to talking, we get to talking. I need to be calling him the doctor. Right?
No.
We go in, and I promise you, when we go in, we always come out winning. He comes out thinking, I come out thinking. And that's what it is. When you're with people that it's supposed to be, you come out the conversation elevates you to dig deeper in you. You don't walk away angry, confused. You know what I'm saying? You walk away going into deeper understanding of self, or asking questions of self that elevate you. It's kind of like our conversations is like me talking to my coach. I have a couple coaches, right? And me spending time with them, I always leave like there's a leaping, like
Wow.
and the baby in me, right? The seeds in me, they begin to leap when I get around the right people. Get around the right people. People shouldn't be draining you. I'm just gonna say that. But again, I just
On that note, you said get around people. A great book. Making your network, increasing your net worth. And we're not just talking financially. Make sure the folks around, not that you, what do you bring to that person or that organization or your inner circle. We don't want to be around negative energy, draining energy. And what it was saying is your network should always increase your net worth. But we're talking brain, we're talking cognitively, spiritually, financially. Your network should always increase your net worth, starting with here.
So what he just said to you again, and what he just said to you is your network should increase your net worth, starting with the mind. It's going to enter your mind, but again, it's going to take place with you spending the right time. And so for all of you that click into the cost of freedom this week, I hope your net worth increased. Come on. Come on. All right, y'all.
All right now.
One more comment before I get out of here. Good morning, Mr. Jesse. You was on this week. Pleasure. My cousin Jesse says, grand rising kings and queens. He always go hard. All right, so I'm going to leave y'all with this because I was actually trying to get my song to play this morning, and I was jazzing, but I'll just sing it. It's your season to step. It's your season to move on up. Take hold of your blessings, knowing your best is yet to come. God's gonna teach you a lesson. See, I'll be going in, right? I was trying to rap a little bit. I had a young group, and by next week, I should have it uploaded on our shows where I have the clip of our entry song, so you all can see what the theme looks like. Because we're gonna be hype. All right.
Hi.
All right. I see you all next. Well, tomorrow we have one more speaker this week, and then we'll move on. Miss Jill will be joining us on tomorrow. Bye, y'all.
Take care.